I haven't moved to Morocco yet, but I'm already starting to think about what it means to experience a sense of belonging in a culture that's not my own. I'm really excited about going and recognizing that as I'm watching the Moroccan diaspora reflect on their own experience of being connected to Morocco, it's really causing a shift for me. If you're new here, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who have been following, welcome back. My name is Kalima Fergus Ayele. I am the founder and CEO of Round Trip Ticket Home and an international school leader. At Round Trip Ticket Home, we support schools and school leadership teams in using design thinking tools in order to build cultures of connection and belonging. And one of the things that has really struck me is the ways in which I'm hearing the questions that are posed to members of the Moroccan team at the FIFA World Cup talk about what it means to represent Morocco when they don't actually live in Morocco. And there's been so much talk about the fact that the majority of the team members actually live outside of the country, but yet feel connected to that identity. And the ways in which it really does echo the questions that we have around connection and community and belonging. And sometimes I think we obsess a little bit over, right? So you think about what it means to have an identity as a Black woman in the United States and hold the identity and the name African American. What does that talk to me about? What does that say about my connection to the continent of Africa when I call myself African American, as well as my own heritage of having ancestors from the Caribbean as well as from the southern US? And so when I think about the ways in which we experience connection and belonging based on the identities that we hold, in one of my previous videos, I talked about what I saw happening with all of the celebrations around the Morocco versus France game, all of these people coming together, even if they had no connection to Morocco, but just saying that in this moment, we are Moroccan. Like we feel this connection, we feel this joy, we feel this sense of community. And so the ways in which we can actually play around with our identity. So one example of that is something that you would find if you go to, let's say, a hip hop club in New York, right? And at one point, the DJ might be like, he wants you to represent where you're from. So he's going to call out in New York City, each borough one at a time. And so for me, being from the borough of Brooklyn, that's one of the things that I identify with. So when I'm in New York, I identify myself with that borough. But if I leave New York, I identify myself with the entire city. And so my identity expands based on my geographic location. The same thing would happen if I leave the country, right? If I leave the country, I'm now connected more with the entire country of the United States than I would be if I was within the country of the United States. And it keeps going, right? So if you imagine being on another planet, I would identify with the planet Earth, right? And so if you think back to the Artemis trip where the astronauts went around the moon and just the idea of how connected they felt to the entire planet because they were away from the planet. And so how can we, even in our day-to-day moments, expand our identity so that we feel more and more connected to one another as human beings, so that it matters less where we were born or where we were raised or who we speak the same language from, and those lines can begin to blur a little bit, and we have some flexibility around who and how we can connect. And so one of the things that's really important to me is language. Being able to greet in another culture, being able to connect with people in another culture. In Morocco, they speak French, and I did study French in high school. So one of the things that I'm committed to is having some time to practice, not necessarily pressuring myself to take classes, but just to refresh myself around the language and what it feels like to speak in the language. I also spent some time living in Egypt, and so there are some phrases in Arabic that I know that I can also use as well. Fully aware that when I get to Morocco, I will have to learn Daraja. And Darija is a Moroccan language which has been developed as a combination of many languages, right? So indigenous languages mixed with French, mixed with Arabic, mixed with Spanish. And I'm excited to understand the ways in which they have been able to incorporate their history in the language so that their language is actually a reflection of all the cultures that they inhabit. So I'm excited about that. I know that there's a lot that I have to learn, and it's going to be a huge learning curve, and I'm excited to bring you along in that journey. I want to pass the question on to you. Is there a place that, even though you might not have a connection to, maybe you were not born there, you don't have any heritage from there, but you feel connected to in a way that may not be logical? I'm curious. Please comment, and if you haven't done so already, please like and share this video, subscribe so that you don't miss anything about my upcoming journey. I'm moving into my 30th year in education and in working with educators and being in schools, and I'm so excited to share that process with you. Bye for now.